One man dared to shake the foundations of a global superpower, exposing its deepest secrets in broad daylight. In 2013, he stole over 1 million classified documents from the United States and revealed them to the world. Since then, for the past 11 years, he has remained America's most wanted fugitive. Yet, despite dealing a massive blow to the US government, he is seen by many as a hero. But why did he risk everything to steal the most sensitive intelligence files? Why did he choose to leak them? And most importantly, how has he managed to evade capture despite being relentlessly pursued by the most powerful nation on Earth? The morning of June 6, 2013, brought an unprecedented crisis for the US government. On this day, The Guardian and The Washington Post published a series of explosive reports, revealing top-secret documents from the NSA, the National Security Agency. These revelations didn't just shock Americans, they sent waves of concern across the entire world. Mobile users everywhere were stunned to learn that the US government had been secretly monitoring their communications. At the heart of the leaks was PRISM, a covert surveillance program that allowed the NSA to access private user data through secret backdoors in major tech companies like Google, Apple, and Facebook. But that wasn't all. The documents also exposed a classified court order that granted the US government access to the phone records of millions of Verizon customers, one of America's largest telecom operators. As if these revelations weren't shocking enough, among the leaked documents was an 18-page memo written by then-President Barack Obama. In this memo, he directed intelligence agencies to compile a list of foreign targets for potential cyber attacks, an order that had far-reaching global implications. But this was only the beginning of the revelations. As more classified documents surfaced, the world learned just how deep the NSA's surveillance extended. The agency had hacked into the computer networks of Hong Kong and China's military, tapped the phone calls of Angela Merkel, then Chancellor of Germany, and collaborated with Britain's intelligence agency, the Government Communications Headquarters, GCHQ, to spy on British citizens. One of the most disturbing leaks exposed secret discussions between the NSA and GCHQ. These conversations revealed how both agencies explored ways to manipulate public perception, spread propaganda, and monitor individuals through social media. At first, no one knew who had leaked these highly classified documents, or even if they were real. News agencies like The Guardian and The Washington Post were not obligated to disclose their sources, leaving the world in suspense. But just 3 days later, a man stepped forward, taking full responsibility for the leak. That man was Edward Snowden. At just 29 years old, Snowden's background was far from what one might expect of someone who exposed a global surveillance operation. A high school dropout, he initially joined the US military, but was discharged within a year. In 2005, he worked as a security guard at the University of Maryland. Despite his lack of formal education, Snowden possessed extraordinary computer skills. His talent caught the attention of the CIA, which hired him. After a few years with the agency, he moved to Dell in 2009. At the time, Dell had a contract to upgrade the NSA's computer systems, and Snowden was assigned to this very project. Initially a systems supervisor, he quickly rose through the ranks and became a cyber strategist, placing him in a position to access some of the most sensitive intelligence files in the world. Until this point, Edward Snowden was a rising star in the intelligence world, a valuable asset to both the CIA and the NSA. But what led to his transformation from a cyber strategist to a traitor in the eyes of these agencies? The turning point came while Snowden was working on upgrading NSA computer systems. During this time, he discovered something that deeply disturbed him. The NSA had unrestricted access to the personal data of any mobile user. Initially, he assumed the surveillance was focused on criminals or potential threats. But as he dug deeper, he realized that the agency wasn't just monitoring terrorists or foreign operatives. It was spying on ordinary, law-abiding American citizens. Around the same time, a heated debate was taking place in the US Congress over government intelligence practices. During a public hearing, Senator Ron Wyden, an outspoken critic of mass surveillance, directly questioned James Clapper, the director of national intelligence. In front of Congress and millions watching on national television, Wyden asked whether the NSA was collecting data on American citizens. James Clapper's response was clear and unequivocal. "No, sir. We do not engage in such activities." Snowden was stunned. He had seen the classified documents himself. He knew Clapper was lying, blatantly, without hesitation, and in front of the entire country. This moment became a breaking point for him. Overcome with frustration and anger, he took a 3-day leave from work to process everything. Ultimately, Snowden made a drastic decision. He resigned from his lucrative job at Dell, where he was earning a comfortable $200,000 a year. But he wasn't just walking away from his career, he was about to change the course of his life forever. In 2013, Edward Snowden took his next calculated step. He left his job at Dell and joined Booz Allen Hamilton, a private consulting firm that worked closely with the US military, CIA, and NSA. Once again, he was assigned to an NSA project. According to the NSA, Snowden stole such an immense amount of classified data that even estimating the total number of files is difficult. Some reports suggest he may have taken over 2 million top-secret documents. But how did he manage to copy files from one of the world's most secure intelligence agencies without anyone noticing? What makes his feat even more astonishing is that he didn't use any sophisticated hacking tools. Instead, he pulled off this massive data breach using something as simple as a USB drive. How did Snowden steal NSA's top-secret files? There were several security barriers in place that should have made Snowden's task impossible. 1. USB drives were banned in high-security offices to prevent data theft. 2. Not every employee had access to confidential data, as strict clearance levels restricted sensitive files. 3. NSA systems were highly secure, making unauthorized data transfers nearly impossible. Yet Snowden found ways to exploit the system's weaknesses. The 3 key advantages Snowden had. 1. His location in Hawaii. Snowden was stationed in Hawaii, 5,000 miles away from NSA headquarters in Maryland. Due to the time difference, when he worked in Hawaii, most officials at headquarters were off-duty, meaning fewer people were monitoring his activities. 2. Outdated thin client system. Snowden had remote access to the NSA central servers through a thin client system, an outdated technology that still connected him directly to the headquarters data repositories. 3. High-level security clearance. As a system administrator, Snowden had elevated access privileges. This allowed him to bypass normal restrictions and move through the system unnoticed. Unlike regular employees, he had the ability to copy and extract sensitive data without raising suspicion. Using these advantages, Snowden quietly siphoned off more than 2 million classified files without setting off any alarms. And he did it all from 5,000 miles away. After working for just 4 weeks in the NSA's Hawaii office, Edward Snowden made his final decision. He would expose the agency's secret surveillance programs to the world. With meticulous planning, he copied all the classified documents onto a USB drive. To avoid detection, he cleverly concealed the drive from security checks. Then, faking an illness, he took leave from work and disappeared. He switched off his phone, cutting off all communication, and quietly boarded a flight from Hawaii to Hong Kong. For several days, Snowden remained off the grid. When he failed to return to work and his number remained unreachable, the NSA grew suspicious. Realizing something was wrong, they launched an internal investigation to track him down. Meanwhile, in Hong Kong, Snowden met with a select group of trusted journalists, including those from The Guardian and The Washington Post. He handed over the classified documents, and within hours, the world was shaken. The next morning, Snowden's leaks dominated global headlines. The revelations triggered an international debate about government surveillance and the unchecked power of intelligence agencies. But Snowden's actions had severe consequences. The US government swiftly charged him with multiple crimes, including theft of government property, unauthorized access to NSA systems, and leaking classified intelligence to unauthorized parties. The US also pressured Hong Kong authorities to extradite him. However, Snowden had anticipated this. Before they could act, he boarded a flight to Russia. Upon arrival, he was initially held in an airport detention center. Though he applied for asylum in several countries, most refused due to US diplomatic pressure. Eventually, Russian President Vladimir Putin allowed him to stay. Over time, Snowden was granted residency, and in September 2022, he officially became a Russian citizen. Since then, Edward Snowden has given numerous interviews revealing shocking details about how our phones are used to spy on us. One of the tools he exposed was NoSmurf, a powerful surveillance program that grants security agencies remote access to a phone's microphone. This means intelligence agencies can secretly listen to conversations and surrounding sounds, all without the user's knowledge. His revelations have divided public opinion. Some see him as a traitor, arguing that he endangered national security by leaking classified information. Others hail him as a hero, believing he exposed the NSA's hidden surveillance programs and defended the right to privacy. But what do you think? Was Snowden a whistleblower fighting for freedom, or a criminal who betrayed his country?